Hello and welcome to Christmas time in the city. My name is Chris. Thanks so much for stopping by. Welcome to the live stream. Just finished filming some footage for a video that will be posted sometime in the coming weeks. I figured while I was down here that I would do a little bit of a live stream. This is the outside of the Oculus at the World Trade Center. This is a Westfield Mall, also a transportation hub, Fulton Station, Cortland, among others that are here. We're gonna walk around the corner, around the other side of it. Just for perspective, over here is the World Trade Center area. I don't know, just definitely worth a look. And the museum is really cool too. Cool is probably not the best word for that, but I stand by it. So here we are. This is the view down. There's probably a little bit of a reflection there. Here we are. So we'll see how this works. We're coming across a little bit of shade. Really prepared or scripted for this walk. I know where I want to go, or where I want to end up at least. And if I see anything interesting, I'll the video trip from my apartment in Brooklyn to where I used to work, right around the corner here, the financial. May notice at some point during the video, especially if you're watching it in 2021, that a lot of people are not wearing masks. That's because we were told last week that fully vaccinated people there's a little bit of a I want to say hello to the 0 people that are watching this currently. I can only hope that this will show up later on in someone's feed. So the sidewalk's closed, so I'm gonna assume we can just walk on this horrible road here. Everything's always under construction. This right here is the Fulton Center station. It's a brand new station. It looks really incredible inside. We'll get in there another time. It's also a Chick-fil-A around the corner that way. Pro tip. Continuing on. For the most part, just kind of wandering around today. Nothing much to do. So these buses, some would say they are not a good idea. I would say they are, if you can find the ones that are really a better deal where you can jump on and off specifically. Those are the ones you want to get on. This is a hop on, hop off here. You can see a lot more of the city really quickly. You can see all the good stuff without having to worry about renting a car or missing out. So I would do that. There's some touristy things that I would recommend. Those double-decker buses are definitely one. So we're heading south now on Broadway. Couple things we can sort of dispel at this point. You can see that even though, like I mentioned before, you don't necessarily have to wear masks if you're vaccinated, it seems a lot of people still are wearing masks. So that's nice. I assume that they're not vaccinated. But at some point you just have to trust people. So here we are, trusting people. Another thing you'll probably won't notice is that there's been some news of medicinal or recreational legalization sort of recently. I read a lot of people on Facebook and the internet saying that it was going to overrun the city. And I can tell you, I haven't seen it once. So here we are. This is where the Occupy Wall Street debacle took place. They more or less camped out here for weeks to protest Wall Street, I guess. I don't know, man. It's misplaced. Here we are. You often see in this area a lot of food stands and carts and things. This is because there's a huge demand for food for lunch. This is all mostly offices. Not a whole lot of people live down here. There are some places to live, but mostly all offices, so they have to feed people very quickly for lunch. Rule of thumb with those carts is if there's a line or they're fairly busy, then you know the food's going to be fresh because they're turning it over quickly, so you know that's the place you want to eat. Yeah, you would want to avoid the carts that are just sitting there, or the guy's looking at his phone or whatever else. Take a little breather right here. I'm gonna get something to drink. I'm going to leave you with the sights and unfortunately the sounds of New York City. Double checking my map too. Don't want to get too out of the way. Here we go. Here we are at Trinity Church. We can stop here for a second, have a little chat about it. It's one of the oldest churches in the country. Miraculously, almost totally survived the attacks on 9/11. Very old. Lots of long deceased people. And then there's this thing. What is this thing? Let's talk about it. You see that we are on Pine Street. At one point they wanted to put Pine Street all the way through this way, but the church said no, so they built this thing right here so that they couldn't extend Pine Street any further down through the church. So that's basically the only reason it's there. big structure. They knew that the city wouldn't say yes to destroying that, especially a big thing on a church. So Pine Street stops there. I know 4 things about Manhattan, and that's one of them. That may be an exaggeration. This is one of the richest churches in the country as well, taking in millions and millions of dollars in donations a year, with a congregation that I can't imagine is more than a few hundred people. And again, everything's always under construction. So let's sneak around here, down this way, to Wall Street. So this is Wall Street. Literally, this is a literal Wall Street here. Here we are at Federal Hall. Federal Hall is the original capital of the United States of America back before they changed it to Washington, D.C. They say that on this spot right here where George Washington's statue is standing, that's exactly where he took office as the first president of the United States in 1776, shortly before moving the capital. Maybe not shortly, but before moving the capital to Washington, D.C., so it was further south to make the southern folks feel more included. Right around the corner here is the money shot, New York City Stock Exchange. Let me come around here and get a better view. Spent a lot of time parked in food trucks around the corner here. So I happen to actually know a little bit about this area. So let's pull over here and take a look up. So New York City Stock Exchange, built in the early 1900s. Before the stock exchange existed and before exchanges in general existed, people would trade stocks in such local pubs or underneath local trees that were designated as trading spots. This is not obviously the real tree. That is a signification of the tree, figuratively, that they would sit under to trade. Here we are here. Now, if we take a look at the very top, you'll see some fun statues there at the facade. About 30 years after they were originally constructed, they started to fall apart. So what they had to do is, under cover of darkness more or less, they had to go up there, cover it with a big blanket. This is probably 1930s, 1940, maybe 1930. And removed all of the statues and replaced them with bronze or copper statues, and then painted them to look like marble. So it's not marble, it's copper statues up there. So they will most likely not fall apart. This little lady here is the, I don't remember what she's called. She's the Brave Girl or something. Originally, she was set up over by the bull, the charging bull, down by Battery Park. Now she stands here looking directly at Wall Street, wondering what happened to her AMC and Nokia stocks. Before we head out, let's go around the corner here. I'm going to show you one more thing. Actually, maybe a couple things. Those of you that are familiar with the third and final Batman movie of the Nolan cinematic universe, Dark Knight Rises, well, remember this spot here. You can't see too much of it because there's scaffolding. This is where the stock exchange was in the movie. Bane comes out here, runs away on a motorcycle. Danger ensues. So, downtown Manhattan was not without casualty, unfortunately, back in the early days. They weren't unfamiliar with terrorist attacks. Unfortunately, they've been happening since, as long as whatever has been going on. In 1920, there was a terrorist attack here in Manhattan, right down here, right in front of Federal Hall. 40 people were killed that day during an explosion where a man took a horse-drawn carriage right here that exploded. And there's a babysitters here. The Duggars are on vacation. Too many kids. Anyway, you'll see over here the chips off on the wall here. These are not on accident. This is actually where shrapnel hit the wall. All up and down, you'll see here, over as well. From where the attack happened right here. So like I said, 40 people died. Wasn't the first. Unfortunately, wasn't the last. Let's continue. So you will see a lot of scaffolding. I think we talk about it a lot in the walks, and also just in general you see it. The scaffolding does have a purpose though. Surveyors come out periodically to the buildings here in the city to make sure that they're at the standard and they aren't falling over, like those statues that we saw over by the stock exchange. If they deem them unsafe, then they immediately have to put scaffolding up, like you will see here, and give them the opportunity to fix it. There's no timeline on how long you can have scaffolding up. So there's been buildings that have had scaffolding up for years and years and years. And there's other ones that have had it taken care of very quickly. But the business move here is scaffolding. So if you want to open up a business, sell scaffolding or rent it. Absolutely rent it. Let's take a little break right here. I'm going to grab some more water. I'll leave you with the sights of Wall Street. And here we go. Gentleman washing his hands. I appreciate the effort. A lot of people try to come and check out downtown, but are often unsuccessful because it more or less shuts down after the workday ends. You'll see some stuff open. There's some restaurants here, but for the most part, downtown is not the place to be. But Julia Clark was incorrect. in addition to showing you all the city, these walks are going to be a great opportunity for me to get off the couch. Now that the city is opening up a little bit more and there's more opportunities for us to go out and do stuff. So this is one of the first things that I wanted to do, was come downtown, check it out. It's a taco truck. Looks pretty good. They're doing it. And then a sweet green right here. So you do have options that aren't mobile, which is nice. Pull right over here for one more second. Get a shot here of Trinity Church in the distance. Okay. Let's head over this way. Just see how many different ways we can jaywalk. You often see these sort of corridors set up underneath the scaffolding, or if they're doing construction on a building like they're doing here. So now, if you've heard my story a few times, or just once, I'm not sure, if you've caught the good parts at least, I used to work on food trucks, and the food trucks would often bring me to places in the city to just sit for hours at a time. Right here is one of those spots. I spent countless Thursday afternoons and Thursday mornings sitting right here, just kind of waiting for lunch to come. A lot of times with food trucks, you have to show up super early just to get a parking spot and just kind of sit on it for a few hours. I've gotten to some spots, especially up in Midtown, around like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then just sat there in there until 11. But if the check clears, then I'll do it, or I would have. I'm not trying to do it now. Okay, so let's go ahead and go. So we're slowly approaching the last stop on this little tour. This little walking, I guess it's not really a tour, so I haven't really given you any information. Nothing crazy, at least. I will say, as we approach our final location, if you do like this video or just like the idea of Christmas in New York City, be sure to subscribe to this channel. You can do the notification bell if you want. I don't see any reason for that. I'm sure that some people could find an argument, but I don't think you need to know exactly when we post. But just know that our videos are here. Also, check us out on YouTube. If you're watching us on Facebook, and vice versa. We're also on Instagram. We're all over the place, man. This is another little fun area. You can assume that once the world opens up again and people start coming out, these spots are going to be pretty exciting. Let's go ahead and cross the street. Like I said, I used to come over here all the time, so I know where all the best restrooms are. There's a Starbucks around the corner where you can use the restroom if you need to. Duane Reade, which is our CVS. It's owned by the same company. For some reason, there are Duane Reades here. I think because there's an intersection of Duane and Reade somewhere that it's named after. I don't know. I have not looked at the Duane Reade Wikipedia page as of lately. So we just crossed Water Street. This is Hanover over here. And if you look over down this way, there's a real strange sight. There's a standalone, come around the corner here, cigarette and candy shop that's not attached to anything. It's just plugged in here. They don't like being filmed. I believe they're closed anyway, so if you're in need of some candy or cigarettes, maybe check it out. I don't know. Moving on. If you are looking for kind of a nice chill walk, especially during the afternoon, I would advise this area being real nice, so maybe check it out. And look here, some interesting structures of some sort. Building waste that was turned into some sort of sculpture. It's getting a little breezier as we come closer to the water. Over there is the East River. Down south this way is Battery Park. Here we go. So we're now approaching our next stop between Hanover, or by Hanover and Water Street, off Water Street rather, I should say. We're at the Elevated Acre at 55 Water Street. Not a whole lot of people know about this. I've spent many afternoons hanging out over here. We'll go up, see how many people are here. You'll see this is an open space. The sign right there, you can kind of tell. A lot of buildings can only build to a certain height unless they have some sort of public space available. It's just one of the rules that the city made. Pretty awesome rule, honestly, because it gives us a lot of really fun urban spots to chill, even if they are in the building themselves. I've been to some buildings where they have observation decks that are open as open spaces. Our first apartment, Kristen and I's apartment, had an open space because it was over 42 stories tall. So there's an open space in the front of it, more or less like a front yard. But anyway, that's another story. Here we are at the Elevated Acre. You will see that there's hardly anybody here. AstroTurf over here. A lot of fun seating areas, all distanced. I wonder if they'll start putting more tables out here soon. Let's take a look back here. This is in the middle of the city. It's a big open urban space. And these are not human-sized stairs. Big regret. But here we go. Very windy up here, so we'll see how much I can talk to you guys. Maybe I can block the wind a little bit. I doubt it. Here we are. Over there is the Brooklyn Bridge. The other side of that is the Manhattan Bridge, and further down, what you can't see, is the Williamsburg Bridge. This is all Brooklyn here. This is Brooklyn Heights. Down along the shore here is Brooklyn Bridge Park. Very cool park if you're ever in town. Go check it out. There's a lot of really fun playgrounds and things for kids to play on. It's also roller skating rink, basketball courts. Very cool stuff. Right over here you'll see is Governor's Island. The only way to get to Governor's Island is by boat. You can either take a ferry, which departs from over here, or the New York City ferries, like the one over here, but they only go on the weekends to Governor's Island. Otherwise, we'll take the main ferry from Lower Manhattan. I say that because I was recently looking into it, because we're going in about a month to check out Governor's Island. So stay tuned for that. We'll see if I do a live stream or something. I don't know. In the meantime, let's see if we can find a spot to chill out for a second. Can you believe this is completely empty? This whole area is completely empty. It's about 75 degrees today, and it feels absolutely perfect. Pretty serious breeze, but when it comes down to it, pretty awesome. So hi. I'll hold on to it for a minute, I guess, actually. This is the end of this video. You made it to the end of this video. You saw all kinds of fun things. I hope we'll have a lot more fun things in store on this channel on YouTube. And we'll also redirect you from this Facebook page, depending on where you're viewing this. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to our YouTube channel. That's Christmas Time in the City YouTube. And likewise, if you're finding us on YouTube, be sure to follow us on Facebook. Same thing, Christmas Time in the City. You'll find us. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'm going to maybe go live on Instagram Live right now to say hi to some more people. Thank you so much for stopping by. Until next time, I'm Chris, and this is Christmas Time in the City.